Hi, everyone. Dr. Frankie Bachon here, and thrilled to be here with you all. Thank you to my new subscribers and those loyal subscribers that have been with me. Appreciate you all. It's crazy to think this, but I mean, the fact is that I've been doing this work for like over 25 years, which is insane because I don't know, I feel like I'm probably you just energetically and emotionally, not emotionally, but obviously I'm more sophisticated than that. But I feel like I'm in my 20s. Like, how could I have been practicing longer than I feel like I am? But it's reality, and it feels good to be here with you all. It feels good to do what I do every day. Studies show that giving back actually fuels the soul and helps you stay healthy and happy. And I am living proof of how giving back and supporting others and being my intention is to serve and show up where I can be most helpful for people. And that fuels me and it fills my soul and makes my heart happy. So I can say that it works. And I want to encourage you to think about, if you're in a profession where you're like, it doesn't fuel you and you feel like it drains you, maybe think about something that you can do where you can give back. It can be something that you volunteer for, or something that you even doesn't even have to be on a big scale. It can be within your family, right? Just figuring out how you can support and give back and do good in the world. We need more good going on these days. Like, we're surrounded around a lot of really tough, difficult things right now in our political climate, all the ways in which we are hurting each other. And so anyway, I'm gonna not really get into any of that because that's just really a downer. I really want to talk about attachment style today and how to heal your anxious attachment. I know I talk a lot about attachment, but it's something that you can actually modify and change within yourself, and it will make the world of a difference in your relationships with others and your ability to show up in your relationship and be vulnerable and available and allow people in to support you and help you and to feel more love. So I focus a lot on it because it's something you can do that isn't immensely difficult. And human behavior is hard to change. And this is an actual, like, a part that you can absolutely change and impact with small modifications in your behavior. And that's why I feel really hopeful when I talk about it. And I want to encourage you all to really take it in and think about how you can apply it to your lives, your current relationships, to just get better at moving towards secure attachment and regulating and all that good stuff. So I'm going to jump in to my topic. And again, it's how to heal your anxious attachment style. Attachment issues can be a source of major strife and distress for many people. Even when you've educated yourself about attachment styles, it's frustrating that knowing why you have the patterns you do in relationships doesn't necessarily mean you know how to fix them. You've determined you have an anxious attachment style, and maybe it's impacting your relationship dynamics in ways you don't want. But what are you supposed to do about it? And likely, if you have an attachment style that is anxious, it's highly likely it's affecting your relationships. Shifting your anxious attachment style isn't necessarily easy, but it's absolutely possible, which speaks to what I said in the beginning of my talk today, which is like, let's lean into working on attachment styles because it makes so much difference. Today, I want to begin to tell you how to heal your anxious attachment. Understanding what anxious attachment is and where it comes from is important as a first step. All anxious attachment styles, including avoidant attachment, disorganized attachment, anxious avoidant, and secure attachment styles, first develop when we're children, based on our relationship with our caregivers. While there's no one set recipe to form anxious attachment, it's often linked to inconsistent or unpredictable behavior from a caregiver. Your caregiver may have been dependable and reliable some of the time, or even most of the time, but likely there were also times they didn't or couldn't show up for you because they were ill, working, struggling with addiction or abuse, struggling with their own mental illness, maybe, or couldn't regulate their own emotions well enough to help you regulate yours. I know in my experience, my mom and dad were struggling with mental health issues, and that impacted their ability to show up for me. So I ended up having an avoidant attachment style. You may have learned skills around earning, caretaking from your caregiver, like anticipating their needs, catering to their moods, or fawning behaviors. Experiencing this inconsistency may have given you a heightened fear of and preoccupation about inconsistency in adult relationships, constantly worrying that life will leave you or abandon you. You may also have learned to apply people pleasing skills to try to convince partners to stay or remain consistent. Naming the hallmarks of anxious attachment. If anxious attachment has been a historical pattern for you in relationships, you may have had a set of learned behaviors around organized around the theme of trying to keep your partner from leaving or trying to secure reassurance of their continued attachment to you. And this could look like needing constant reassurance from a partner that they love you, or they're attracted to you, or aren't going to leave you. Intense anxiety about being broken up with or being cheated on. Difficulty being alone for any significant length of time, especially when activated or distressed. Preoccupation with how others perceive you, whether others like you or whether you've disappointed them or your partner in some way, finding it difficult or impossible to break up with a partner, even if you're unhappy or they aren't meeting your needs, finding it difficult or impossible to say no or set firm boundaries in a romantic context, preferring to try to persuade or coax a partner into doing something via people pleasing behaviors. Compulsive behaviors trying to reestablish connection when in conflict or disconnection from a partner, like calling, texting dozens of times, or driving to their house. These behaviors may not be constant or extreme. Maybe you only see these patterns come up when activated. You're feeling distressed about the relationship or during conflict. Regardless, these patterns can cause you and your relationship distress and difficulty. While it's totally okay to prefer being in a relationship or regulating with loved ones, it's great to have the tools to be content on your own as well, to know how to regulate yourself. Working on self regulation and self soothing. Learning these skills for self regulation is the core of healing from anxious attachment. People with anxious attachment styles tend to rely heavily on co regulation, the support and soothing of other people when they're upset or activated. There's nothing wrong with co regulation, but we're healthiest when we use in combination co regulation and self regulation, the ability to soothe and calm ourselves on our own when we're dysregulated. Previously, I talked about co regulation, which is important to know how to do as well, because that's important for connection and attachment. But we also have to know how to self soothe on our own. Learning self regulation helps lower the stakes on your intimate relationships. When you have more skills for being okay and managing your emotions on your own, the prospect of being alone or briefly disconnected from a partner isn't so terrifying. You don't feel like you're going to be abandoned. Some good steps towards strengthening your self regulation skills are practicing mindfulness and meditation, noticing your feelings and thoughts without reacting to them or trying to fix them, working on somatic skills to regulate your nervous system, like vagal breathing or the mammalian dive reflex, giving yourself sensory options for distraction and soothing during moments of extreme dysregulations, like ice packs to put on your vagus nerve, essential oils for scent, or a weighted blanket. Learning DBT skills like distress tolerance for managing big emotions and your reactions to them. Explore routes of safety to connect with actions and choices that help you feel safe during moments of extreme panic or anxiety. Build boundary skills and stop people pleasing. Self regulation is an important step towards working on your relationship with yourself that may have positive downstream effects for your relationships with others. But the work of healing any attachment issue must be done in connection with others too, since attachment problems are inherently bound up in our relationships with others. People with anxious attachment can struggle with setting boundaries or saying no in any context in a relationship, often fearing that any kind of self advocacy or drawing a line or a boundary with a loved one will cause them to leave or reject them. Like with any skill, it's helpful to practice over and over again and to start small. Practicing no in low stakes contexts and with people you trust to build comfort with the skill and notice that there likely aren't any disastrous consequences. Because if you see that every time you practice and it's not a catastrophe, you realize, oh, I need to keep doing this because actually this is positive. Good things come from me taking some small risks here around limit setting and boundary setting. Because it can be difficult for people with anxious attachment to express issues that they fear might cause conflict or disconnection, They may have more experience with expressing preferences or passive aggressive displeasure than actual boundaries. It's important to remember that a boundary is about your own actions, not someone else's. You aren't trying to get someone to behave a certain way or stop someone from doing something that bothers you. You're taking responsibility for your own reactions to others' behavior and changing how you show up in dynamics based on it. Practice your skills in safe relationships. Doing personal work on your own to heal your anxious attachment is crucial. Attachment issues can't fully be addressed in isolation because they're about relationships. Some attachment work must be done in connection with others. This doesn't have to mean entering into a high stakes romantic relationship to test your progress. Think about the skills you want to build: self regulation and self soothing, setting boundaries, and saying no. And consider how you can begin putting these skills into practice in secure relationships where you feel relatively safe. This could mean telling a longtime friend that you can't help decorate for her baby shower, or your family member that you're going to end the conversation and hang up the phone if they say something homophobic, or your coworker that you aren't going to work past 5 p.m. for your project. Although it's difficult at first, practicing these skills in all your relationships will strengthen your muscles for healthy attachment in other contexts as well, including your future romantic relationships. One important safe relationship to practice relationship skills is one with a therapist. A therapist can be an invaluable support in developing these skills and strategies, but also serves as an important purpose in being a safe person whose role in your life you can rely on unconditionally. This creates circumstances for you to heal with the knowledge that an important core relationship is stable and reliable. And you can make mistakes and you can misstep, and that person isn't going to reject you. They aren't going to judge you. They're impartial, they're neutral, they're skilled, they understand how to reset, to reframe, to right, to like change things up so that you can connect more deeply with people that are important in your life. So definitely seek out support as well. Learn how, like, you can learn on your own about attachment theory, read. I encourage you to do all of that. But in practicing, you've got to actually be in relationship. And hopefully, you take something from today's talk. And I'd love to hear your reactions, your thoughts, your resistances to what I'm saying, if any. And good luck. Big hugs, kisses. See you next week.